Real Business Talk with Tom and Till.
Now the question is, what is bullshit talk or bullshit advice for starting a business? You want to go for that, Tom?
Bullshit talk and advice.
We've heard that all the time, right?
I don't know, I feel like anytime anyone tells me to do something in business, it's bullshit, right? I seriously do. I feel like the only thing a real good business person can do is tell you the things you shouldn't be doing. It's probably a good idea if you don't do your taxes yourself. It's probably a good idea if you don't forget to pay those things or file your taxes. Because it happened to them, right? There's something that just screwed up their business in some way, and they can be like, it's probably a good idea if you don't do that. But telling people what they should be doing, I think it's nonsense, because you don't know, man. We could all start the same thing at the same time, in the same city, in the same building, knowing the same people, and the results will be different.
That's true.
But the mistakes we make will probably be very, very similar along the way. The way we tackle them, once they happen, will be different, but the things that happen, they will be very, very similar.
Yeah, that's true. I actually have that example right now because one of my businesses right now is quite similar to another one from a friend of mine in my mastermind. And we're having the exact same problems. But taking advice from either side doesn't make a lot of sense. But telling us we should look out for these things, that is easier. So, for example, on a more general level, this advice, you need to found a legal entity as fast as possible, get legal advice, get a tax accountant, even if you do not have any product yet, right? So that's advice you can get fast from people who are in that business. So I always see this as, if you ask someone for their opinion, they always respond from their knowledge, from their domain, and that might not be your domain. So if you talk to a lawyer and ask, what should I do? The first step of building a business, he'd say, found a legal entity, which is normally not the best advice in general.
Yeah, it's fine, and people can give you bullshit advice like that all day long, but the thing you gotta just say is why. Always just ask them why. Because if they can't point you to the problem that's going to happen if you don't do that, and you actually think, oh yeah, that would not be good, it doesn't matter. It's it doesn't concern me, start a legal entity. Okay, why? To protect yourself.
Why?
But why? Because I have no customers that can, it just depends on your business, right? So that's already a bullshit advice. If I'm selling Kindle books, and Amazon is taking care of everything, and you tell me to start a business to protect myself, from what? Right?
Yeah.
It really depends, man. You should get insurance. You should file with this. You should file with that. You should set up your business in this city or in this state because of, that's one of the things too, man. I've been hearing people always tell people in America, you need to set up an LLC in Wyoming, this or that, right? Because you will not be paying taxes.
Yeah.
But if you actually ask a why, and this person isn't bullshitting you, they'll tell you, well, you don't really save anything unless you live in that state, because the taxes pass through that entity and you still pay taxes on your state level where you're living. So it doesn't do anything at all, right? Unless you live in that state. But they're like, well, where do you live? Chicago? Yeah, just set it up in Wyoming. Why the fuck should I do that? But most people are like, oh, cool, I'm going to save money. No, you're not. But it's the most common bullshit advice I hear all the time. So even something that simple, you just got to be like, just forget it.
Do you know this? Have you seen it in Asia when you ask someone for the way? Or especially, I think you're in Japan now, right? I've heard that this is there even more the case. You ask someone for the way, and just to save face, this person will tell you anything, even though that person doesn't know where the way actually is. I don't know if that's true for Japan.
In Japan, they do this dance, man. It's like a chotto, 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 and they try to get rid of you as soon as possible. They're moving around looking for help. It's oh shit, foreigner. It's
Okay, so it might not be Japan, but I've heard that actually from other Asian countries. So the same thing for advice with entrepreneurship. If you ask, let's say, a salesperson what you should do, that salesperson will tell you, yeah, you got to do sales, just to give an answer, even though that person doesn't know what your problem actually is. So every time you ask someone, that person will respond with some expertise that they have, even though it doesn't make sense.
I think it depends on the person, because the people that really don't know what they're doing, they're full of advice. Usually, they're very full of it. But if you ask me for a lot of things, I just tell you I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know your business. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know which way you should go. I don't know what's going on. Unless you say something like, well, okay, I'm getting an employee in the Philippines. I have this, and that problem. This happened. How did you handle it? And if I did handle it, I'll be like, well, this is what I've done to kind of, solve it. But if that's going to work for you, I don't know. I mean, that's probably what I would try first, since it worked for me, but I have no idea, right? It's your business. Like, you should know what you're doing.
That's true. So, I mean, I'm doing a lot of, last year I did a lot of coaching on So Helpful. It's a platform where people can just book calls for free, because I wanted to train myself a bit in that. And a lot of people came as early stage software as a service founders. And what I did was just asking them about their problems. I just play the ball back. Like, what do you think is the biggest problem? And then it always comes out. Like, yeah, I'm shy to actually call people. So if you're asking someone for advice and that person asks you more things back, I think that's always already a good sign.
I mean, they need to know the business. Yeah, when I do coaching, I always walk people through a system that works in that industry, in that field. Like, if someone's asking me, how can I make my sales calls better? And I ask them, what's your sales call now? Well, there's a system to a sale, right? Like, there's steps you need to take, and maybe there's just one missing. And this is not something that I just found out. This is like a normal thing in sales. Like, you learn this stuff. Maybe you just didn't hear it, so. But if you ask me, like, how should I sell? What should I sell? How much should I do it for? I mean, you got to find this stuff out. Look at your competition. Look at, what your customers want. Like, there's a lot of stuff which I just might not know, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's always a good advice. I don't know. It's better than destructive advice.
And there's a lot of people saying that too. They make no money, and they're like spitting advice to everybody.
True.
If you liked what you heard, please leave us a review on iTunes.
They do matter.
Also, come and hang out with us on our website, yourownwayout.com. That's yourownwayout.com. See you soon.